Welcome back to your favorite stream for Decompiling Castlevania Symphony of the Night. This is made up of wires. We are doing just that, Decompiling Castlevania Symphony of the Night. If you want to know more about the project, go to soten.z.dev, where you can learn more. We've been working on Outer Wall and the Long Library. And Outer Wall is getting really close to being done. I have one function that we finished yesterday. See where these other ones are. 93% here. There was some issues that I hadn't quite figured out yet. I don't know if I'll go back to that. We'll save what's there though. And I was kind of going through just looking at what is left in N01. But what I want to do today is go back to the library. I had started working on a function related to the shop, and that function ended up being different between the PSP version and the PlayStation 1 version. And so I want to go back to the PlayStation 1 version, and I do have now the JP 1.0 version of that as well. That may or may not be helpful if it's slightly different or compiled with slightly different in some slightly different way. But let's start there. So I'm going to go into the library, and that should be an eShop. And we'll look for one of these first, include ASM files, and this is the function here, 29C4. And so let's find that in decomp.me. See if anybody else has attempted it. Looks like just me. So I didn't mention that I'm pretty sure that this is a PlayStation unique function. There's some interesting offsets here. Those look a little different. My guess is that they are castle flags. I'm not familiar with how those offsets came to be, though, so we might have to look at that a little bit. And then I want to look down here and maybe start back with the M2C decompile and see if there's something we can get from that. The number of items in the shop list is 49. We could probably get this from the available inventory item data that I extracted last week. But for now, I'll just say it's 49. I think we have a count macro or a num macro that can be used to find that. And what I am mostly looking at here is, can we figure out what this mess of a conditional statement is meant to be? Or do we have to do something else entirely? So looking through, we're taking what I call the unlock level, and if it's less than 86, we're going to do some logic. And let's try to work out this switch statement. So in the case of being less than 81 but not 80, this is our default condition, and this is where we're going to fall through. regardless of what happens. And we're going to fall all the way down here and then do this check down here based on the unlock level. And so really there's nothing more that needs to be done. I think this is just an optimization that's done by the compiler. So I think that that case can be ignored. The FF case, I'm going to move all the way down to the end. And that should match a little closer with what was there. And so then the next part we have is we're greater than 86. And less than FF, which is all of these here. And so in each of these cases, basically we're checking the same status relic, offset 16. Sorry. No, we're just doing a cast and continuing on. So there's a bunch of logic here that's done in the PSP version that just doesn't exist in the PlayStation version, it looks like. So let me fix this FF case. We do have to be aware of this block 22. Actually, what I'm going to do, this is a relatively simple function. I am just going to blow away everything that I have and start over. So what I need to do is pull in the inventory item structure, which I'm going to grab from what's currently in master. And there also is another structure called available inventory item, which I believe is used in this function. And so I'm going to copy that as well. That replaces the alt inventory item. And is there anything else in here? No, I don't think so. I do think this is going to be a switch. What that switch looks like remains to be seen. There's a few other things in here for these castle flag offsets. I guess I will grab those as well, since actually those are gone already. So those probably don't need to be worried about. PSP stuff that's from copying over the PSP version anyway, so don't have to worry about that either. So I'm just going to take it the way it is, and we'll start over. So I still think that that area below is a switch, and so we'll see what happens as we get there. So what we're doing as we go through is basically incrementing this var s1 every time one of these checks succeeds. Oh, and it looks like the variables that I had from before were the PSP versions, which is why they weren't showing up. So we can figure out what all these castle offset flags are. Castle flags, what their offsets are. And I think each of these basically is going to be, have we executed a particular spell? Because effectively that's what is happening as we're going through. Let's see where this 510 is being used. So this 510 looks like it's related to one of the spells learned. It's nice once you've been through some code once already. It makes it a little easier to go through it again. So we're checking this flag against the spells learned mask. And this also is going to be a set of flags. So these are both U8 arrays. And let's see what else we're having problems with before we keep going. Line 57. There's an unknown. So these are kind of a bummer. We're taking a reference here to an item kind of right in the middle of that item, and that's really not what we want to do. So we will have to fix that and then fix up all of these offsets as well. So this 3-4 is a this is an inventory item. So I'm going to take the reference to actually not even the reference to the inventory item ID. So it was grabbing the price offset, -3 from the price offset. This is going to be the category. The way that it's getting masked, we'll see how that works out in a little bit. RA2 needs to be a pointer to an inventory item. Line 70 looks like I got rid of some. One too many parentheses. 91. Unknown -2. That's going to be the item ID, and then unknown -1 is the price. And here we have this var A3, which it couldn't figure out, is going to be this available inventory item type. And so we can fix those as well. And that's going to be the same thing, item ID and price. And we have something slightly better than what the PSP was giving us. It may not have been the best idea to completely go back, because there is some things that would have worked out here, but I think that's fine. We can deal with it the way it is. This is a little interesting. So we have T0, which is going to be our I variable. That's being compared to 48 as opposed to 49, which is the correct number of items. That does tell us why, though, the last item, which is worth 1 million gold, doesn't show up. Hey, Dig Down Deep, good to have you. So I'm going to start that for loop and get rid of the do while. So var T0 was our driving variable there, and it wasn't used for anything, so it's safe to just delete. And I will replace that with an I. All right, and this var S0, we don't have any other things that use the S0 register, which is nice. I'm going to call that unlock level because that's what I named the field in that struct. And that's exactly what that's going to be, which is how many things in the game have you completed to unlock various things in the shop. And the first one is this Castle Flag 62. And the unlock level will get initialized to 0. So let's look up what Castle Flag 62 is. So met Maria after the hippogriff. I don't know that I have this in. Probably can copy this entire into this. It'll be a nice addition to my context. So we were looking up here. A lot more castle flags. All right. So now we need to figure out what these others are, and those are all going to be castle flags as well. And the easiest way to do that is to, well, that I know of, I use just a hex calculator and subtract these values from the castle flags offset. I don't know if it's been fixed in Mac OS 15.3, but earlier, since Sequoia, the hex calculator, if you paste a number that's all decimal when you're in hex mode, it'll treat that number as decimal, even though you're in hex mode. I know they fixed other things with the calculator, so maybe they fixed that as well, but that was certainly annoying. All right, so I'm looking for castle flags. Of course, that's 3BDEC. Everybody knows that. So we have offset DC. Let's see if that one has been set yet. No, it hasn't, but I believe that this is going to be based on spells learned. And so, oh, this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, possibly. So let's add that. As these are brought in as well, you might see some of the instructions change because we're going from a fixed offset into array access, and sometimes that GCC will load the castle flag offset and do the math. Other times it doesn't. So I'm going to be doing the same thing for the next one. That is offset hex 96. And we'll look to see if that has been set. Inverted castle unlocked. And we can get rid of the strict mathematical equality check. Next one. D8. D8 is another Met Maria. These are actually different than I expected them to be. And the last one. B4. All right, so I think that is all of them there. There may be some others down below. Let's see if that is the case. This one here. That is 73. Castlemate. All right, let's save that. All right, so the next thing that is going to be necessary, so we're down here at line 60. Most of this is fine. It does look like there is an additional check for this BEAO that is missing. And I will have to figure out what that is. Here's our status, which looks fine. I'm not sure why M2C is splitting that. Basically our castle flags are getting read out of order, is what the problem looks like. So we'll have to see if that stays or if that gets reordered as other things change down below. So I'm not terribly worried about it at the moment. This load, let's see, line 51. We don't need the explicit check against 0 here, just a non-zero check. We're getting this load of 0. I think it's this var t1. And let's see what var t1 is used for. This is going to be a count of items, -7. So this is the number of items that are available in the inventory, minus the 7 that are currently appearing on the screen. Or the return value is going to be minus. All right. And so along the way, we're going to be using the var2 and var3 pointers to go to the next item. And let me go back and just look at what what those addresses are. So 134C is the so var s1 is our current item. And so down here, let's find where current item is being used. This var a2 variable I don't think is necessary. It looks like it's just an offset version of what's already being set up here. So I'm not sure why it exists. So I think we can get rid of that. It looks like it's just tracking the current item. And that could mean that var2 is, or current item is being set down here as opposed to up there. It also could be that those were separate variables and I do need to keep them, but I'm going to get rid of them for now. I'm going to leave the go-tos at the moment because the go-tos may help with the switch statement later. rs2, I'm going to rename available item. And then this var v1 underscore 2, I'm going to name that item level. Let's see what else might need to be done. I'm going to get rid of a bunch of this masking and casting. I don't think that will be necessary at the end. Available item here, we're setting the category. I screwed something up along the way, one extra parentheses. Here we are incrementing the available item count. And var a3 should just be also the available item. You can dig down deep, good to have you. Oh, thank you. Some of the ordering there may be wrong. So available item saying is not a So I'm not sure. We have this available item assignment down here. It doesn't appear like it is happening right there. There's other things like this item count. That probably should be later. And then, yeah, we're loading current and available items way down here. I'm going to pull those down as well. And they'll possibly be moved back up, but maybe not. That ordering is a little strange. So we do have some castle flags that are wrong, are in the wrong order. I'm gonna look up the relics. I think we should have a relic enum. And so relic 0 would be Soul of Bat. still one more pointer issue, and that's for available item getting. Yeah, this is the wrong address. This is something different. I'm going to ignore that at the moment and grab the let's see, is that? Oh no, it is. So available item inventory is at 4364. And do we have these now? Nope, not yet. I think these are what scrolls have you purchased? And the rest of these were different castle flags, and those can go away. So I've gotten a little further away, but that's okay. All right, and so before continuing on, I'm going to get rid of this item count -7, all the masking and casting there. All right, so we have the logic inside is, like I said, I think it's a switch. And so we can kind of work this out by going through the different options. So I'm going to switch on the current items category. This is similar to yesterday, where a switch gets mangled into all these other things. So everywhere that I have temp A0 is likely going to be a case in this switch. And so the first case is that I'm going to go with is case 80, where we're checking whether the castle map has been bought, and then jumping down to this section here. And so we're taking the item level, setting it equal to the category. If item level isn't a U8, it should be, I believe. And setting var_v to 0 as long as the castle map has not been bought. So if the castle map has not been bought, then we're going to set the item level to 0. And then we can break. Otherwise, the castle map is... What happens if the castle map is not 0? I don't think anything, because the castle map then stays at unlock level 80, and that's going to be higher than the unlock level ever gets, and so that's fine. I think that is case 80. I think we get that one done. All right, so the next is case 81. So this level was specifically for the castle map. We can go look at what the inventory looked like and see what has that level. So the first special case is the Jewel of Open. The Jewel of Open is always available. The next one is Castle Map, and Castle Map is going to be available as long as you don't own it, which I think is exactly what was done there. It's saying item level is undeclared. Item level is declared. 10mm level is not. All right, so for case 81, so we do have to deal with the default case still, and let's do that while. In that case, the item level, I should say here that item level is going to equal the current category. And in the default case, the item level should end up equaling 0. But that's not what's happening here yet. What does happen, and I think it's hard to follow, is eventually there is on the PSP side, there's an obvious subtraction that's happening. I'm going to set it to 0 here. I kind of remember on the PSP side that basically the item level was subtracted, or the category was subtracted from the item level, which makes everything 0. I'm going to set it explicitly here, and we'll see what happens. So I think these two cases then are covered. So now we have the case of being less than 86 and greater than 81. So that's going to be 81, 82, 83, 84. And these are all the scrolls. And so then when we have a scroll, we're going to do this logic. And we're going to do this logic. And then we're going to break. The additional mask, I don't know if that's going to be necessary, but we'll see. So what is this? Basically, we are this 81510 is, I believe, based on the scale here of 2, an unsigned 16 saying which scrolls have been learned, or what spells have been learned. This comes as an unsigned 8. Let's look over here. This was actually data that I decompiled as well. So it's a little different. So we take the scroll index and then subtract one of these values. And this is the bit position. Now I see. This is the bit position of the spell. Let's see what the name of that variable was again. Spells learned. And let's see if we have a spell. So we do have spells. And so let's look at what those were. I'm going to look at the Soten Wiki. And this tells me what each of the scrolls do. I just want to make sure that these offsets are what I think. Yeah, Dark Metamorphosis, that makes sense. Summon Spirit, which is offset 1, 0, 1. Hellfire, offset 2. We skip. Which was this? I have them here as well, Tetra Spirit. All right, so it looks like this 510, oh, that is 510 should be unsigned 16, and that is part of this data. So M2C incorrectly decided that it was going to be an unsigned 8. So temp A1 is we could call scroll index, and basically we're just subtracting hex 80 from it. No, hex 81. And because this is unsigned, we could do a plus 7F, which is the same thing. Hey, entropy gravity well. Look at this guy. That's kind of funny that I just changed my my opening animation, and it looks kind of similar. So let's do that. Scroll index is going to be item level minus hex 81 minus, not equals, hex 81. And then this 80151C is a weird variable. It is unsigned 8s, but everything is multiplied by 2 for reasons I don't know. And then that is our item level. And I broke something along the way. So I have a duplicate case, so yeah, I should probably fix that. 510 is undeclared. Okay. So how is this looking? Any better? Time will tell. Time will tell. All right. So now we have this case down here taken care of as well. And so the last case I think is going to be case FF. And so we're looking at Relic 16, and Relic 16 will be Jewel of Open. And I'm sure it's called Relic Jewel of Open. So if we don't have it, we'll give it or make it available. Otherwise, we won't. And then block 26 is just the casting. I think that may or may not all fall out. So I think I can get rid of all of this now. I do need to break here. And let's see how that worked. So there is a reasonably large section in the PSP version that just doesn't exist here. And let's see what there is. So the FF case looks like it is coming before these others. So I'm going to move that up to the top where it was originally. So the only difference between these two is the status. Now I'm going to continue down. Maybe I will move this down one. No, that doesn't make sense. All right, so I appear to be missing some variables along the way. I do think that this so this current item assignment does appear to be happening first. And then 3, 4, 6, this seems to be happening up here as well. The rest of these are castle flags, and it's possible that I have these out of order. But I don't believe so. I am missing 2 32-bit variables. One thing that may be an issue is this because this is an array, we might be indexing into the array and the optimizer is pulling it out as a pointer. One thing I am going to try is taking this category, using it as the switch, and then where we need the item level, using it again. That does seem to be slightly better. I'll change this to a +7F. So the category is a 16-bit value, so it is possible that the cast is necessary. Let me see what the scroll index is. I'm going to change that to an unsigned 8, and maybe we'll get the cast for free. And now let me try changing this back to -1. Yeah, that compiles fine, and we get the cast as well. The status here for spells learned isn't getting hoisted. So I'm going to make a variable for that. Oh, the status actually up here is getting, I think that's what may be happening down here as well. So it's possible that these are, that this wasn't a switch, and I'm just kind of forcing it, and it's not working out. Down on line 76, there is a load byte. It's possible that this is the same kind of structure. So there's this weird structure for 1.5c where there's pairs of bytes, but the second byte doesn't seem to be used for anything. And so it's possible that those are signed 16s, but then just being loaded in an odd way. So the next one we have is this load word for A0. Which is missing. So I think the types here are wrong. So unlock level and item level. It appears one is going to be like an unsigned 8, maybe. Yeah, that did help quite a bit. And that gave me the correct instruction there. And it's maybe this is a signed 16? Nope, not. Level. inside 16. Let's make that an inside 8 and unlock level inside 16. So this tells us something, though, on line 78. The type of... So unlock level does look like it should be a 16-bit value. But then item level looks like it should be an 8-bit value. Yeah, there's some typing things that I'm getting wrong here. And I'll have to figure out what that is. So down here, it's possible that I'm reusing item level in a way that I shouldn't be, which is causing the extra cast. The rest of this, though, is falling into place relatively well. We do have this. Where it looks like what the optimizer is doing is caching this assignment and reusing it, basically optimizing these into the same thing. So if this wasn't a switch, we could make this switch say if the Relics Jewel of Open, or we've not bought the castle map, or like if Jewel of Open hasn't been acquired yet and we don't have a castle map, set the item level to 0. If the category is between 81 and 85, do this logic. Otherwise, item level down here. And actually, it doesn't look like that is... Oh, duh. That's not the case, because this... and I may be using the wrong logic. Let's see. It's not the category, it's the unlock level. And a lot of this was wrong to begin with. But that gets us a little closer. So there still are some types that are wrong or off. The rest of this, though, is falling into place pretty well. I'm still not sure why that status line isn't matching up. Let's look at what the type of relics is. It's almost, well, I'm not sure. So relics is at offset 0 status. It's almost like status is being treated as a byte array. Let's try that and see what happens. And then just accessing it by array directly. Yeah, it generates the same thing. So there's another option there. I don't know. So something odd going on there with how that's loading. All right, so the things that are off still. So spells learnt being loaded twice. So here we have G status plus 238. This one is correct, but this one's not. So we're missing a status, a load from status somewhere earlier. And so status gets read into S3, and we're grabbing offset 0 there. So we have to figure out where we're grabbing offset 238 from status. And that's happening almost immediately after time unlock. So this spells learnt is pulled out way up here. And what did I break? I broke something a long time ago. It looks like. Look at this. So spells learnt is getting loaded way up here. But before 510, and 510 is this. So looks like a pointer is being taken to 510 as well. So 510 is the scroll index to spell ID. So there's nothing that stops us from adding a pointer to that. So this is a U8 pointer. So scroll index to spell ID. So the 238 does get moved up there when I do that. However, the G status is not cached. So it's I guess that's possible. That player status pointer is getting cached. So up here, when we're about to use player status, we'll use this instead. And then down here we can use it again. It doesn't help a ton. So still a few things here and there that that are odd or don't seem right. Excuse me. What can we do? What can we do? So I do think now though that this the switch arrangement is likely correct. I still don't know about the pointer, whether or not pointer should be used. Item count basically is available to be the index there. I am gonna go look at, and I should have done this before. I'm gonna pull the PSP version, I think, and see what. The logic is definitely much closer. Not my icon. And so I need to remember which ones was. Not that. I don't think the PSP version was completely matching. I thought it was relatively close. So this is the PSP version. So looking at this again, let's see how this is doing compared to what we had before. So a few different things. So our cases of FF and 80 coming first, that is correct. So the PSP version has 86 through 88, which doesn't exist. So that's PSP specific, and maybe I'll do that. I'll add that macro so I can conditionally leave this out. Okay. So the other things then are this check is quite a bit different. And we're calling var S3 on the PlayStation side item level. And where does item level come from? That is not correct. These are all, they're inverted. So unlock level should be item level. Just to get the naming, and then var S3 can be unlock level. All right, so then what this was an else. Yeah, this happens quite a bit on PlayStation, where they'll take the else condition and default the value to that, especially if it's an immediate value. So this is actually ending up looking very similar. There is no, these variables are not being pulled out on the PSP version, so it's unlikely that they're being pulled out on the PlayStation version. So I am going to change. I think what I'll do is I'll grab this from the PlayStation version and just start kind of manually merging these together and see if I can get something close. Yeah, it looks like it. And I need to grab. So there is, and I can go pull this data as well. So I did this on the PlayStation side. I started with the PSP data actually, and the PSP data didn't match when compiling for the PlayStation 1. And it's because of these additional 3 items. And what those are, we have to figure that out still. Let me grab castle flags. What is a castle flag? Mapbot. Where is that? Big long list of flags, castle flag offsets. Couldn't be named castle flag. Quite a few more than we had before. And then I need to fix the struct types. And fix the types here as well. Current item is a inventory item, and an inventory item has a So we're still matching on, or matching closely on the PSP side, so that's good. Registers obviously not matching, but that's not something I'm worried about yet. So let's try taking this logic. I'm going to transpose the PlayStation symbols and we'll see how that goes. So this D19 offset, that is going to be the spells learned, and spells learned is G status spells learned. And so what's somewhat interesting about this is that the evaluation is inverted. This is going to be our scroll index to spell. I am going to change the type of that to a U8 array. And I'm going to leave that multiplied by 2. Get rid of these. So that takes us a little further away, and I think that's so. That suggests that this was a U16, and it really is just being cast down to a byte. Oops, not that one. This one. And so let's try that over on the PlayStation side. And let's move this to the other side. So now does this look like the PSP side? Not sure if this cast is necessary. I think I tried taking this off last time, and yeah, it was necessary. So I'm gonna this item level, so that condition is inverted. I am gonna take this, and I'm guessing that this is gonna be the same thing where this looks like an array for unsigned 8s, but it's being treated as a unsigned 16 array, and it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but that is what is happening. And I have the right types, it looks like, over here. So unlock level and item level. I'm going to have temp s 0. I don't have that anymore. So we're kind of slowly converging on var s6. That is the like sellable item count. So I think I just call that item count. Slowly converging on a mostly matching function. So let's take that. The one thing I don't have is the default case, which doesn't seem to be necessary. That is looking better. So take the item level and set that first. Switch off the item level. Getting closer, getting closer. Yeah, really close. So it does look like these are the same function except for those 3 additional items. And it might be good to go look at what those additional items are. So I will go and replace all of these. Those additional items, though, are going to have additional checks, which it looks like are related. This one is related to relics. So I have to be careful there. So yeah, the leveling is a little different. Actually, no, it might not be. This looks wrong up here. I think this should, yeah, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 7 checks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 checks there as well. So it does look like those are the same. Okay, I'm going to grab all of these then. And so the immediate values, those are going to be wrong. But as long as the instructions are fine, that's okay. The variables are wrong. As far as 2 is the, on the other side we call that available item. So most of that is correct until we get to line 111, where there's just this one. What's happening is this this computation around what spells or what the spell index is pulled out into a separate variable, which is S5. So let's make one for that. I think you just have to figure out which where in all of this is that variable getting pulled out. It looks slightly better. Not. It looks like the mask isn't happening here, but happening here. Try again. Wunderbar. So I do have one variable that shouldn't be there. But our stack size actually is correct. So this is really close on the PSP side. So it's so close that I am going to attempt to copy it over. Let me make sure that I get rid of all my PSP specific stuff. So if I did, I can get rid of all of this above. Nope, not yet. Oh, yeah, there will be PSP specific stuff down here. This actually I need to check, and this would tell us actually what these are. Most likely castle flags. Let's see what the castle flag offset is on the PSP. So let me see if these are castle flags. I think they are. No, they're not going to be. They are at a different place in memory. It's possible that they're relics. So, are there other relics in? Let me see what relics is. C. That's closer. So this 406. That would be relic 6. Zero, 2. So this is Skill of Wolf. So yeah, it's possible that Skill of Wolf is in the shop on the PSP. Let's see if I can find the PSP shop inventory. Is it in here? No, it's not listed. What's under other? Yeah, I don't know. I am basically at time though. What I think I'll do, I don't have to worry about this not compiling on the PlayStation because it's commented out or if defed out. So let's paste that and see. That's it. So there is one type down here on line 66. Oh, look at that. That is a beautiful thing. This is 49. Current item. This is 48. Yeah, that's what I thought. So there are 49 items in the inventory, and the 49th is not included in this list just because this loop excludes it, which is also interesting. So I should be signed. We have a register issue. It looks like down on line 122, this is inverted, is my guess. Let's try it again. No, not quite. So we're not casting. Unlock level was. Let's try making that assigned. Unsigned 32. Nope. So something's still going on there. And making this unsigned 32 is not going to work either. So still, yes, still some typing issue with those two, but this is really close now, 95%. And I think even better is that it is basically matching on both, which I didn't expect. Thank you, Cristiano. So there is still some register issues on the PSP side that needs to be taken care of. Didn't I copy this over? This is interesting. There is a an unsigned comparison here on line 129, which is this check, suggesting that I is unsigned. Apparently I is unsigned. And the inventory size is different. So on the PSP, inventory is going to be 51, not 48. So we'll have to get that inventory from, actually what we can do is set the inventory conditionally, the size up here, to get the right value. I am copy that back over. So let's, I'm a little late. I'm not gonna keep going. Tomorrow we'll look at what inventory is different between the two. But I'm really happy that this did work out to be the same function for both, with the exception of those cases in the middle. It is a little odd the way that this is written. So some typing information, a little bit here and there that still needs to be worked out. But other than that, it's not bad. So we've been decompiling Castlevania Symphony of the Night, and you can learn more about that project at that problem. It's such a problem. At soten.z.dev. You can find a link to any of the functions that are decompiled in GitHub, and you can find a link to Discord as well. What day is it? Thursday. I'm going to do a little bit more research, but I happen to it happened to come into my possession a backup CD from Probe Software from 1997, which I believe were the files of Andy Brock, who was a sound designer for Probe and did, it looks like, work on the Mortal Kombat trilogy, Die Hard 3. The background behind both of those is super interesting. It looks like Probe was just working on single games for both of those, and the studios were happy enough that, or the IP owners were happy enough that they expanded those to trilogies instead. And Rainbow Island. So I have a bunch of original sound files from those, and some pretty minimal notes about the VABs and how they get loaded. A bunch of stuff, especially on the Mortal Kombat files, about how different sounds don't fit into the overlay. And it looks like they called the overlays downloads, which is kind of a funny thing. We think of downloads as very different. So I'm going to do some more research into that disk. As far as I know, it's like a one-of-a-kind backup. I might reach out to Andy Brock and see if he has any comment or wants his disk back. But that'll be fun. So stop by next week and we'll talk about that, and we'll keep working on this inventory function. Maybe I'll finish it off tonight. I don't know. See. That's all I have for you, though. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Cristiano, and Dig Down Deep for correcting my poor screen management skills. And I'll see you all on Monday. Adios.